Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. For special coverage on Cyber Monday, I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me at the market site Times Square, we have Shaun Brown. He's the Senior Vice President with Shopper Marketing and Innovation at Momentum Worldwide. And we're going to take a look at how the shopping experience has changed with AI, new technologies, mobile and digital. Shaun, it's great to have you with us at Market Site. Before we get into all that, how Big Brother is watching, let's talk about some Black Friday and Cyber Monday trends. Consumer looks pretty strong this year.
It looks exceptionally strong. Over $9 billion in online sales between Thursday and Friday, $2.9 billion on mobile alone. So it's showing this huge shift of where retail is sitting today versus online. So it's a huge opportunity for these brands to continue to push their products online.
Right, and that's really with retail, just the way it's evolving with the new shopper and retail capabilities through mobile, digital, AI. And are we just at the beginning, or is there more to come?
Way more to come. I think retail right now, if you look actually, there's some data that came out this weekend. The retailers are pulling back their services, their staffing on some of the big box stores like Target and Kohl's, because online is playing such a huge role. But what's driving that is experience, understanding how to engage these shoppers, how purchases are happening. And so that experience is not happening in store, but this personalization of data, of understanding who you are and what you want and retargeting is happening through all these digital channels and using AI to do that in scale. Retail today can't do that, and so you're going to see more of that technology come in store, and you're going to see more of that get to a way that we can understand personalization and talk to you in a relevant way. It's not just for retailers. Retailers are clearly dependent upon that, but brands are dependent upon retailers as well.
Right.
And so these brands now have to partner with these retailers to find those ways in, to create those solutions, because retailers on their own can't create those. They don't have the infrastructure built because they have such a massive existing infrastructure. And so now as they shift to new ways of working, they're going to be dependent upon brands to help them.
Yeah, I mean, what can brick and mortar do to be competitive at this point, with the exception of creating that in-store experience?
Yeah, so shoppers still want to go in store. 85% of shoppers tell us they still want to go shop in store. They want that experience. In fact, the research from this weekend from Black Friday said 60% will actually pay more for a better experience if you create it. So these retailers just need to find the ways that mean something to their shoppers for creating these experiences in store.
Are they bringing technology into the store at all?
Absolutely. There are tons of, we're using AI, where we're leveraging, whether we're looking at Wi-Fi, mobile devices. Mobile is probably the biggest contributor to understanding how shoppers behave in store. There's lots of means, legal, no
Right.
privacy issues involved about understanding where shoppers are in a store, how we ring fence a store when you come in, how often, when have you last visited. And as we start to understand those behaviors, we push content to those shoppers to push return trips, to retarget you, to bring you in, and understand what you purchased. So when retailers start to share that data, and we're talking to some of the biggest retailers out there today about sharing their data, because they've been very closed with that, with brands. So the more they start to share that data with brands, the more we can start to understand how to push the right kind of content based on their behavior they've been exhibiting in store.
Right, well, even physically in the store as well, I would imagine with brand placement, when they follow all this data around where you're spending time in the store, what catches your eye first.
Yeah, some of the biggest builders out there, like a WestRock, who has displays and racks, they are building technology into their racks today so they can use proximity location based on your device. So when you're in front of that to do custom content at shelf, so what you see versus what I see at shelf is unique. Dynamic pricing at shelf as well. You'll see Kroger out there and many retailers getting dynamic pricing based on who we are in our past purchases.
What does that mean, dynamic pricing? Will they change it based on?
Changing. So think of like the airlines, that has a price goes up and down. So based off if you are very loyal to that brand, they may not discount as much. But if you're a switcher or maybe you've been shopping elsewhere, they may give you a different price than they give me.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, Cyber Monday and Black Friday, do they even matter as much anymore these days?
With as many sales as they had this weekend,
Yeah.
I would say significantly.
Right.
But I think the thing is for retailers to start to understand what's their role. How do they start to recapture some of that to create those experiences? We know that there was 6.2% less traffic this weekend in stores versus online, but the sales were up, but the traffic was down. So how do we start to drive more of that foot traffic back in store?
Yeah, well, you know what? Let's go back to dynamic pricing for a second, because
Sure.
I've noticed this even on apps. Amazon, for example, I do 99% of my shopping through Amazon. You could go and look at something, go back 5 minutes later and look, and you will see the price fluctuation.
Absolutely.
And I'm just surprised to hear that they're actually doing that in store now, too.
Yeah, they're just starting. It's in pilot in a few stores, but you're going to see that start to grow. And it's not just the pricing, but it'll be the content you see.
Right.
So there's dynamic, so a big shift in the industry right now is you see programmatic media and using dynamic creative, so that now there are thousands of variations of what you will see versus me, versus any shopper out there. So it's no longer just 1 or 2 pieces of creative, thousands of pieces.
Is that fair, though?
Sure. I mean, don't you want to be talked to in something that's relevant to you? versus just a very broad stream blanket statement. This is not about privacy or trying to understand. Marketers just want to be able to be more relevant to you. The more relevant I am, the more brand trust I'll have from you.
Yeah, amazing what predictive technologies are doing
Absolutely.
for consumers. Thank you so much, Shaun, for joining us.
Appreciate it.
And thank you for joining me on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.